All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Simply Cyber's morning cybersecurity threat briefing. First things first, we're going to be covering the top news stories in the cybersecurity industry today with professional expert analysis and reflection, a little bit of commentary, all about good times. So thank you for joining us. If you're watching this on replay, you might want to just jump right to where that timer in the bottom goes down to 0 seconds, because it's going to be 3 minutes of decent music and great commentary with chat as people kind of roll in and grab their seats. Hey, Zach Hill, good to see you, man. Big Tree, Bill Green, Brian Myers, Adrian, love seeing you promoting stuff on social media. I sincerely appreciate that, sharing this information with everybody. Well, that's great news base. So hopefully you guys can hear the music. I've been dabbling with intro music to kind of give a little bit of depth and body to the intro pieces of this. Hey, Mubariz, good to see you. Isaiah, always nice. Hey, Kimberly, always bringing that sunshine. Guys, you're the best. Alexis, good to see you. I'm not sure if I saw you on yesterday's stream. Glad you could make it today. Hey, Lupe, always here. Guys, remember, I know you guys are here every day. Mustafa coming in from LinkedIn. Very nice. Dennis, Glenn, you guys are coming in full force. I love it. Hey, Miguel. Remember, guys, I say it all the time, but if you want to share first things first with someone else, the easiest way that you can do it is send them this URL, simplycyber.io/first things first. Basically, it just dumps you into the YouTube Simply Cyber upcoming live streams. But I do stub out, I guess, for lack of a better term, 4 or 5 of the next episodes, so you can always see what's going on there. Also, you'll see the upcoming live streams for the Thursday afternoon ones, which I'm pretty excited about today. We've got Neil Bridges coming on, but I'll tease that a little bit later. Hey, Brian Richardson. Yeah, guys, we hit over 100 the other day on stream, so I genuinely appreciate it. Yes, thank you, Tom. Hi, K. Pamela. Good to see you. LinkedIn user. Guys, if you don't know about that, Simply Cyber Discord server, there's a lot of good security servers. I see Zach Hill here. TCM's Discord server is a good time. Black Hills Information Security is a good time. Cyber and Security's Discord server. If you guys are not a member of a Discord server for the cybersecurity community, you are missing out on a huge networking opportunity. Each one's got its own kind of personality and its own vibe. This one is Simply Cyber's. So if you're interested, it costs nothing to check it out. No one really knows you're there. You can lurk. You can get engaged. It's definitely all about good times, at least in the Simply Cyber one. I can speak to that personally. So go check that out. All right, we're almost here. Just Ben, I see you. Oh, I hope you enjoyed the great hack. We teased that on yesterday's episode. Great Netflix thing. Oh yeah, definitely. TCM Security Discord. It's absolutely great. Zach Hill knows what's going on. All right, guys, let's kill the music as soon as I find my app that's actually playing the music. There we go. All right, guys, you know the routine. If you want to play along, which I wholeheartedly encourage you to do, go over to CISOseries.com. David Spark and his whole gang do a fantastic job. If you don't like my commentary, but you still want to get daily threat briefings, this is an excellent option for you guys. So we're going to dive right into the podcast and start giving our morning threat briefing.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Thursday, February 10th, 2022. Ukraine takes down social media bot farms. The Ukrainian Security Service announced it shut down 2 bot farms used to manage over 18,000 accounts that were supervised by organizers from Russia. Ukrainian authorities said the bots were used to spread panic on social media, as well as send bomb threats. Authorities seized 4 GSM gateways and 3,000 SIM cards used by the bot farm operators, which operated out of their apartments. Authorities did not provide specifics about how long the bot farms had been operating or what platforms they specifically targeted.
Okay, so this is just a continuation of the mounting escalation over in Eastern Europe around Russia and Ukraine and what looks like the inevitable conflict up there. What's really interesting about this one, and I want to point this out, is that they dismantled the social media bot farm. And what's the social media bot farm's intention, right? It is to spread either disinformation or to criticize actual valid information and kind of overwhelm. Social media is an incredible weapon when used by um, basically groups in power, right? You can shape a message, you can shape a narrative for a population. You can squash certain narratives. So very, very powerful when weaponized in that capacity. And you see it during elections here in the United States, where there is there can be like these really polarizing topics. Again, check out Cambridge Analytica and the Great Hack Netflix documentary we talked about yesterday. I know Isaiah mentioned it in chat a minute ago. It's incredible. Like when you think, oh, just whatever, it's just my Twitter account, no big deal, or InfoSec Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Like no, like you can really weaponize social media to push an information narrative. So it's just one of the tools in the dime, like when you're influencing and asserting power in a nation state way. The way nation states do it, there's policy and diplomacy. There is military interaction, there's economic sanctions, and then there is information manipulation campaigning, right? So like when we fly over and drop pamphlets to a country that says, hey, just give up your stuff and you'll like come be POWs for our country, or come join our country. You'll get 3 hot meals, you get a warm bed. Like you're affecting the influencing of that population. And that's all that they're doing here. I won't get too much more into it, but it's just interesting,
Federal
right?
use of cell siphoning tech on the rise. According to documents seen by The Intercept, 14 of the 15 U.S. cabinet departments acquired products from the Israeli surveillance company Cellebrite in recent years, as well as several other federal agencies. This includes the Departments of Agriculture and Education, HUD, and the CDC. In SEC filings, Cellebrite claims to have over 2,800 government customers in North America. The company's flagship product is the Universal Forensic Extraction Device, a phone, desktop, and cloud hacking kit. Most federal agencies did not comment on how they use Cellebrite's products, with the Department of Education and Department of Energy saying it was used to determine if a government-issued device was compromised.
Okay, man. So this is Cellbrite is the tool that allows you to kind of like break into iPhones. It was made very famous during the San Bernardino shooter a couple years ago. If you guys remember that whole thing where this shooter had a phone and the FBI wanted to get into it, and they asked Apple to put a backdoor in, which spawned into like a bigger discussion around backdooring devices only for good uses, right? Only for good intentions. But the problem is once you let the genie out of the bottle and you build in this functionality and capability, then like when someone's in power and their adversary is challenging them, you use the tools at your disposal. And this is one of those ones. So NSO Group, we talked about that other one, Quadfems or something like that in Israel, and then Cellbrite. So long story short, the technology is out there. Not all tech is uncrackable, unbreakable. And it sounds like the technology is getting more widespread. And again, only used for, thanks for the sub, only used for law enforcement, good intentions, good purposes. But at the end of the day, it's really in the hands of whoever has it at that time. So just be aware that there is a continued increase in the amount of, I guess, weaponized tools to do bad stuff on mobile devices. So your iPhone is not secure.
Microsoft expands security business. In its most recent earnings report, Microsoft reported its security business is booming, with $15 billion in revenue in 2021, up 45% of the year.
Guys, really quick, Bloomberg's the worst. Like, Bloomberg is the worst. This isn't even the story. Killing me, Smalls.
Following on that, 2 interesting bits of news showing Microsoft has further plans to expand its security business. Bloomberg sources say Microsoft is in discussions to acquire the cybersecurity research company Mandiant. Mandiant only became an independent company again in 2021 after being spun out from FireEye. Microsoft also launched a preview of a new Microsoft Defender app on Android and Windows in the US. This app shows all devices connected to the same Microsoft account, displaying the number of apps, links, and files scanned in the last 24 hours. On Android, it sends alerts to users about potentially malicious apps. On Windows, it serves as a complement to Windows Security, showing settings for virus and threat protection.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Let me just confirm something really quickly. Wow. Okay. So, all right. So Microsoft to acquire Mandiant. Okay, guys, real quick. This is huge. Couple things going on here. One, like Microsoft is on a tear to become like a front runner leader in the information security space. Their product suite, their Microsoft Defender, is excellent. A lot of people in our community are like, yes, this is a legit EDR solution to drop on your endpoints. It naturally just integrates with Azure in that whole space, and tons of people are adopting Azure. So if you can get access to a tool that already works nicely in the ecosystem you have, and it's super effective, why wouldn't you do it? And then it just turns into a vicious cycle with adoption, and then more people have it, and then more people know how to do it, etc. Long story short, I am really, really excited that they're acquiring Mandiant. Mandiant is like basically like when there is a legit like super hack Colonial Pipeline, for example, or any financial services company, oftentimes Mandiant is the one that is called in. Mandiant is like the gold standard, the platinum, right? The Cadillac package, the high roller package. So for them to acquire that, that means Microsoft is getting even more serious about developing what I would consider, because Mandiant's forte is incident response and forensics, discovery, digital forensics, those type of things. So I'm wondering if they're going to be going one step further, because right now the EDR detection tooling detects bad stuff and will quarantine it and do some stuff. Azure Sentinel is their SIM solution, which takes logs and feeds in and gives telemetry and visibility to security practitioners. Either two things are going to happen. One, Microsoft's going to have an actual professional services company where when there's a hack, they deploy them, which is big, big money. And that could be what Mandiant does. Or they're going to use Mandiant's knowledge base and power to further refine the tooling that they have and make it go one step further after it detects, like doing some type of activity on it, like detect what is it doing? Does it quarantine it? Does it integrate with other products and stuff like that? My suspicion is that it's going to be professional services, but look for Microsoft to just continue to dominate. I actually looked at Microsoft's stock price yesterday because I was like, dude, these guys between everybody abandoning Zoom because they already have Microsoft Teams, and a CFO is like, why should we pay for two solutions, even though I think Zoom is better? Lots of people are dropping Zoom to go to Microsoft Teams, which further reinforces vendor lock-in. And their product suite on the security side is absolutely dope. So whatever, good on Microsoft. I don't know who the CEO is over there, but they clearly got a plan and they're executing to it.
Microsoft's war on macros continues. Last month, Microsoft disabled Excel 4.0 macros by default. Now, starting in April, Microsoft Office will block all Visual Basic for Application macros for files downloaded from the internet by default. Currently, Office displays a banner warning about macros, but you can just click through it to use them. Microsoft will make this macro blocking default on all supported standalone versions of Office, going all the way back to Office 2013, as well as Microsoft 365. Individual users can still allow macros in document properties, and organizations can change this default in Office's control panel. And now,
excellent.
From our...
So this is excellent, right? Good again. Good on Microsoft, guys. Like I don't have a proper I don't have a proper sounder for like, way to go Microsoft, but good on Microsoft. Macros are ask Zach Hill. He's up in here. He's been doing some on-site pen testing. Any pen tester, right? Like social engineering an end user to click on a macro that's going to detonate under the permissions of the user to reach out to a C2 server and pull down an actual payload that's going to do something valuable to the attacker. It's like macros are the way. It's so easy to trick people to run macros. Microsoft has realized this because it's such a large attack vector that they're now like nerfing the ability for macros to run, making it even harder for end users to accidentally click, or accidentally execute those macros. They're disabling it. They talked about it last week about disabling part of it. Now they're disabling all of it for anything downloaded from the internet. And guess what, guys? Most attack vector macros come from somewhere off the internet. Yeah, you can get a USB drive mailed to you, and some advanced threat actors do that. This wouldn't fix that, but this is going to fix a lot. This is going to fix a lot of kind of outbreak rash problems that organizations suffer. So I'm team Microsoft today, guys. I am team Microsoft today.
Sponsor, Datadog, hq.com/CISO. Meta Oversight Board urges improvements to doxing rules. The Independent Oversight Board issued an opinion Tuesday recommending Facebook and Instagram tighten their restrictions on sharing home addresses. Facebook allows such information to be published without restriction if it's considered generally available, which is currently defined as published in 5 separate news outlets. The Oversight Board recommended removing this exemption and creating specific enforcement channels to prioritize reports of doxing. Meta requested advice on the policy from the Oversight Board last year, although it's not ultimately bound by that recommendation.
Okay, so again, I'm glad that Meta has an oversight board. For what it's worth. You know, Meta's really making a big play, guys. The fact that I don't want to say they're giving Oculus Quest headsets away, but the fact that they're $300 and it's like a very advanced piece of technology, I was thinking about it this weekend, just further enforces that they're trying to get the hardware out there in the market, because Meta is going to flop if the user community doesn't have the hardware to engage in the metaverse. So Facebook is dumping this out. And I honestly feel that they have been on a long-term play, like a 3-year strategy to change the narrative of Facebook being this very invasive, very oppressive organization that steals and vacuums up your data and sells it to like, we're pro security and look at our oversight and we're special, right? Like, yeah, you should tighten the rules around doxing, because doxing is effectively having somebody's personal information publicly revealed, right? And it really should be the individual's decision on what information is actually made publicly available, not a company like Facebook's, right? Because when Facebook requires you to create an account and you must give your phone number, you must give your address for this thing to work. And then they verify in some capacity so you can't spoof it. It sucks when they don't protect that information. They have an obligation to protect it, which is, by the way, why GDPR is so strong, and why we just saw yesterday that Facebook's talking about dumping out of the European Union Facebook and Instagram, because they don't want to comply with GDPR, frankly. It costs a lot of money to do that, and it hurts their business model. Long story short, I hope that this oversight committee actually has juice and authority, and I hope it is not a public relations technique where they say, thank you, very nice, now get back in your nerd lab over there, oversight committee. We'll talk to you when we need you for the photo shoot. But privacy is a thing. Privacy is a thing.
Siri interactions saved on iPhones without consent.
There we go.
In iOS 15, Apple includes an opt-in for sharing Siri recordings of voice interactions to improve the voice assistant. This opt-in generally occurs at device setup or when upgrading to a new version of the OS. Apple subsequently discovered a bug in iOS 15 that enabled this setting for some users who had already opted out, meaning Apple received recordings of some Siri interactions without consent. The company fixed the bug in iOS 15.2 and deleted all erroneous recordings. The company also said it completely turned off Siri interaction collection for many devices running iOS 15.2 as a precaution, even for those that had already opted in.
Yeah, I'm with Lupe on this one. I don't show comments normally, but on this one I will. Accidentally. It's kind of a big accident. I don't think that's an intern with password 123 as a password. Okay, so this kind of sucks. It's a bad look for Apple, especially since Apple has decided that they're gonna go the super righteous route. And Apple, they took out billboards in LA where we're a privacy company, your privacy matters. Apple is all on board the we care about privacy train. So for something like this to happen, it's not a good look for Apple. I will say that they did fix it. I'd have to read the article to see what exactly was captured and recorded, because some things do get recorded, right? When you say "Hey Siri" or when you say "Hey Google or whatever, like the device has to be listening in order to register that you just said it. And all that processing is being done up in the cloud. It's not like the device is locally doing all the language processing and being able to tell you the height of Mount Washington, right? So that data's got to go somewhere. It's got to be recorded in order to be transmitted. So there is recording going on. I'd love to get a little bit more understanding of this. For me personally, I'm not going to like abandon my iPhone, but I do think it's a bad look for a company that's like, we're all about privacy. Super, super serious, guys.
Ransomware Decryption Key Party. We cover a lot of news coming out of forums on this show, usually around dark websites that are frequented by cyber criminals. However, Bleeping Computer proved that forums can also be a force for security good, recently publishing the master decryption keys for Maze, Egregor, and Sekhmet ransomware families. These were published by an alleged malware developer. Maze shut down in November 2020, but was rebranded as Egregor in early 2021. Analysis of Sekhmet shows similarities to Egregor ransomware. The poster claims this was a planned leak and not linked to recent crackdowns on ransomware operations by law enforcement. These keys were confirmed as legitimate by security researchers. Twitter.
Interesting. So, I guess if, it sounds like this is all the same ransomware threat actor / family. And this is just kind of their evolution as they matured over time, or as certain members of the gang left and came in, or as the heat got turned up and they were trying to change who they were so they wouldn't maybe get blamed for every single ransomware incident that they did. But if you are an organization, maybe bookmark the Bleeping Computer article. If you know, or there's an organization that gets hit with one of these ransomwares, there's a master decryption key, and that's wonderful. We need good wins like this, good stories like this. So, basically, there's not much here other than there's a decryption key. From a crypto perspective, I'd love to. It's not going to happen in chat right now, but if there's someone out there, reach out to me. I'd love to talk about it. Like, it's interesting to me how there is a master decryption key, because when you think of the way, we don't get into crypto that very often, but it is a domain within cybersecurity. When you think about the way that encryption works, it's a public-private key asymmetric model, right? So you have a private key that only you have, and you have a public key that everybody has, and you use the public key. Well, you use your public key to encrypt their files, and you tell them, I'll give you the private key if you pay me to decrypt your files, right? Here's the thing. There's a mathematical relationship between those two, and it's very unique, which is why you can't just use anything to decrypt it. The fact that there's a master decryption key lends me to believe that there's another key that can be done besides the public-private key, which is kind of a model that I'm not really familiar with. And it's curious how you could have a master decryption key that mathematically works with any generated key of the public-private key model. So anyways, I'm curious. Again, my level of depth in crypto, because I'm not a huge math guy, I don't really like math, is just like, which crypto is still not broken? AES, cool. Does it do AES? Yes. Let's move on, right? That's my depth of crypto. But there are people who love the crypto, and not the crypto coin, the cryptography.
We've previously covered reports that Middo AG, a telecom service company, operated a surveillance service sold to government clients within its organization. This was reportedly headed by its co-founder, Ilya Gorlick. As a reminder, Middo denies that it ever operated the service and is investigating any wrongdoing. Now, Twitter disclosed to U.S. Senator Ron Wyden that it is transitioning away from working with Middo AG to send passcodes to users over text. Twitter cited the report by Bloomberg on the issue. Bloomberg sources also say that the messaging companies Kalira and MessageBird have cut ties with Middo.
Okay, so it sounds like Middo is a surveillance company, like any other kind of large-scale private investigator, and that they were selling their services to government clients. It looks like also that I don't know what the story is, and the Bloomberg paywall is really screwing us up. I guess all I can think of based on this is that relationships between government and investigative services are coming to light. And again, this has been kind of the theme of this particular First Things First, is that when people in power, people in power do not want to give up power, right? Like the peaceful transition of the US presidency, it's like such a big deal because it's literally the opposite of what happens 99% of the time, right? Think of anyone who was in power ever that's like, oh, you know what? I'm good with all this power. I'll just take off. I'm good. No, like that never happens. So how does someone with power keep it? They suppress their adversaries using multiple different means, but one of them is getting dirt or understanding like what those adversaries are doing, or what's that messaging, or how is the union organizing, right? Just to not even about power like that. Think about big tech and then union organizers like Amazon, right? Finding out what those people are doing and how they're organized. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying this is how people abuse access to information and investigative services. And this is just another one that came to light, and now they're being kind of Heismaned away from them because it seems suspicious that a major big tech social media group and an investigative service, telecom service investigation for surveillance, are somehow related or something like that. So anyways, long story short, sorry for first things first, that last story. The Bloomberg paywall is absolutely devastating, guys, for me. So I don't know what to tell you about that. I think that's going to do it for our... Yes. Okay, guys. So that's going to do it for this week's First Things First. But before you go, I want to share with you, later today on this channel at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live and do a long format 1-hour episode with special guests who are various across the cybersecurity industry. We've had absolutely a banging roster for the last year and a half. And I'm really excited. We're going to be bringing Neil Bridges on later today. We're going to be talking about the current state of cybersecurity affairs. So if you like First Things First, you're really going to like this, because it's not like we're talking to Neil about how to be a CISO or talking to Neil about how to do pen testing. It's like literally, hey, let's talk about this Olympic app, or hey, what do you think about third-party risk management when Puma gives all of their time card data to Kronos, and then Kronos gets ransomware? How do we address that risk? So it's going to be kind of an open-ended, organic conversation. We're going to be using chat. You guys are going to be bringing the heat, bringing the questions. I'll be actively participating as well, instead of just me being the host and him being the guest. I hope you can join us later today at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want, we also... we'll be doing First Things First tomorrow at 8 a.m. As I mentioned before, guys, if you got value out of this, hit the thumbs up. Everybody loves that. But share it with a friend, okay? Share it with someone in your network. What we're doing here, it's important. Understanding what the heck is going on is important. Being able to crush your job because you're informed on what is going on and risks, and Microsoft doing all that they're doing, acquiring Mandiant, beefing up by stopping VBA scripts from running. You need to know that. So when you're talking to infrastructure and stuff, you can dominate. And if you think someone can get some value out of that, just go to this URL and join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. Friday, February 11th. And guys, I've been teasing a Renegade broadcast. It could be happening tomorrow, and it could be awesome. We could be talking tomorrow about the 20 coolest jobs in cybersecurity, and we could be going through each one of them rapid fire, telling you exactly what the job is, what's the best part of that job, and what sucks about that job. We might be doing that. I don't know. It could happen. It could not happen. It might be happening tomorrow right after First Things First. I don't know. I'm just speculating. These things happen. Guys, I love it. We average 80 people in here every morning, and you guys are the absolute best. I thank you so much for all you do. It's Thursday, February 10th. Be good. We'll see you later today at 4:30. Thank you so much. Take care.